Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mainstream Indie Music channel. We talk about all things indie music, and we're diving a little bit into the alternative, maybe rock and hard rock genre this week with a very interesting solo artist here that I'm talking about. I do apologize beforehand when we begin. I have actually been sick, unfortunately, these last 2 days, so my apologies for my voice, but I definitely needed to get this recorded for you guys because I was excited to talk about them. So if anything, I might just sound a little weird. I'm a little congested right now, but other than that, I'm all right. And I hope that you guys are having a good week as well. Please subscribe if you haven't. The support on this channel just blows my mind every single day. We have an awesome community here. I've been kind of tinkering with and doing some like posting as well on this channel, but yeah, you guys continue to give me support, and I appreciate it very much. Now, with all that being said, let's just get into the story here of Ilan Rubin. Who is he? Well, essentially, he created himself. You know, he put in the hard work. He did the things that he needed to do, and it sounds like he just always happened to be available more than anything. You know, isn't that kind of like a principle in life, right? Like, sometimes it's not just about the talent, it's the availability. Well, Ilan is definitely somebody that fits that bill almost perfectly, because right from the get-go, he taught himself he did teach himself guitar as well, but he taught himself drums, and he started playing with some friends of his, some brothers of his, and they did very, very well. So much so that he was kind of incorporated into a band. The first band that he was in was called FON, and they actually were invited to the opening stage on Woodstock 99, and he performed. And so that's kind of the funniest and pretty cool story right away, is at the age, I believe, of 11, he was performing at Woodstock, and he is, to this day, the youngest person that's ever performed on that stage. You know, not so surprising, since, you know, there's only been a couple of those concerts, but you just got to think of an amazing opportunity that is to have an 11-year-old up there playing drums. Now, his drum playing was noticed by other people, because about 5 or 6 years later, he was asked to, and he accepted the invitation to being the drummer of the band Lost Prophets. Now, if you know Lost Prophets and you know what happened to Lost Prophets, this is kind of a sour note. I remember I actually loved Lost Prophets when they first came out. You know, Rooftops and Last Train Home were like my anthem when I was a teenager, and it's sad and disgusting what ended up happening to them. And sadly, Ilan was not really a part, of course, of what happened with Ian Watkins. In fact, even by that time that everything kind of happened with the band, when they fell apart because of his behavior, he was long gone. But it's sad, because when he's been asked about that in interviews, there's one specific one that I read when I was doing research on Ilan, where the interviewer kind of doesn't shy away. Like, he kind of straight up asks him, like, you know, were you in the band when all this was going down, and did you know what was happening, and have you reached out to Lost Prophets? And honestly, it seems like Ilan's kind of just distanced himself from the guys in Lost Prophets. And of course, he says it's nothing personal to the rest of the band. In fact, if he were to see them or run into them, it's not like he would ignore them. But it's kind of like he doesn't really have a reason to reach back out anymore. Because even at the time, he left the band before everything went down, because he honestly said he was bored. You know, he said that the band seemed like they didn't really have a direction. Now we know why they didn't have a direction, and weren't going anywhere. And then, of course, he got the opportunity of a lifetime. A few years later, in 2009, he was asked to substitute completely for 9 Inch Nails drummer, and he accepted it. To this date, he still tours with 9 Inch Nails whenever they go on tours. He still helps them play music. He is busy with them, and when Nine Inch Nails was incorporated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he was included in the list of members. So he is one of the youngest people that has been included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, that is still alive, that they didn't die early, that is. A huge honor for him. He was extremely busy around that time because he got accepted into Nine Inch Nails in 2009 and kept performing. Around 2011, he started his own solo work. And then in 2011, he got a phone call one day from a Tom DeLonge in the band Angels and Airwaves. And he was asked, did you want to be kind of like the drummer, but also kind of multi-instrumentalist in Angels and Airwaves? And he accepted. So now he's kind of doing triple duty for 3 different bands. So of course, I'm sure they had an arrangement and an agreement between them, because to this date, he supports them. Like whenever they need him on tour, he's there, and he doesn't talk bad about any of these bands. So, he's on good terms with all of them. You just got to imagine how cool that would be to be in such kind of legendary company, playing drums and so on and so forth for these bands. But Ilan was not even done there, because in 2012, 2013, Paramore ended up coming up to him and said that they needed a studio drummer to help record their album, which the album that was in question at the time included the single Ain't It Fun, which has become one of Paramore's biggest and well-known songs to this day. And yes, that is Ilan drumming in that song as well. So quite an accomplishment that he has, quite a few awards under his belt so far. He's at the top of Paramore. He's helping Angels and Airwaves. He's the drummer for Nine Inch Nails. He is just everywhere, and he has such a passion for music alone that really you got to hand it to him. It's really cool because he really likes music so much that he's one of those people that there is not a lot of information on like his private life. There is just so much information on his drumming, on his kind of like the stories that he's had over the years touring with these different bands that he's been a part of, that, not many people even ask about his private life very much at all. So, starting from just kind of drumming with friends and with his older brothers, teaching himself drums and other instruments, to performing at Woodstock, to, sadly becoming at the tail end of Lost Prophets, but using that to move on to Nine Inch Nails, Angels and Airwaves, and Paramore is quite an amazing feat in itself. Now, I will leave it up to you guys at the very end here. I left the arrow pretty much in the same spot in the indie chart. What do you guys think? Where does he rank in the indie world? I left him right near the top because of all the work that he has done, because he's done such huge work with popular bands, Nine Inch Nails, Angels and Airwaves, and Paramore, but not many people know who he is. So what do you all think? And I'll see y'all next week.